Welcome to Ms. Parb's Flipped Classroom. Today we're going to be talking about solving quadratic equation. The objective of today's lesson is to solve quadratic equations by graphing and also to solve quadratic equation using square roots. The standard form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where a cannot be equal to 0. Quadratic equations can be solved in a variety of ways, and the solutions are also known as roots, zeros, and x-intercepts. To solve a quadratic equation with graphing, you graph the equation and then you find the x-intercepts. A quadratic equation can have 0, 1, or 2 real number solutions. In this first example, the parabola is above the x-axis. It's never going to cross the x-axis, so it has no real solutions. In this second one, it just touches the x-axis and then turns, so it only touches in one place. So it only has one x-intercept, in this case the point 2, 0. So it has one solution, which is x equals 2 for where it touched the x-axis. In our last example, we have two x-intercepts. We have one here at 1, 0, and we have another one here at 3, 0. So we have two real solutions. One of them is x equals 1, and the other one is x equals 3. Okay, let's look at some examples of graphing equations to find the solutions. And remember, you can graph these by hand, or you could graph them on your graphing calculator. X squared minus 1 equals 0 would be the parent graph translated down 1 unit. So we see that this graph crosses the x-axis at -1 and +1. So our two solutions are -1 and 1. The graph of x squared equals 0 is the parent graph, so it just touches at the origin and then turns back up. So we have one solution, which is x equals 0. The graph of x squared plus 1 is the parent graph translated up 1 unit. We see that this is never going to touch the x-axis, so we have no real solutions. So now you copy these down and graph these and work these out, and then pause the video and check to see if you got them correct. This first one would have two solutions, x equals 4 and x equals a -4. The second one is no real solutions. And the third one is this one solution of x equals 0. To solve a quadratic equation using square roots, you need to follow these steps. First, you need to isolate the variable. Then you take the square root of both sides of the equation. And remember, the square root of a negative number is not a real number. Therefore, if you have the square root of a negative number, it means there's no real solution. In our example, we have 3x squared minus 75 equals 0. To get the x squared by itself, we have to add 75, which gives us 3x squared equals 75. We then divide both sides by 3, which gives us x squared equals 25. Take the square root of both sides, and we get x equals plus or minus 5. It's plus or minus because a +5 times a +5 gives us 25, and a -5 times a -5 also gives us 25. So our two solutions are x equals 5 and x equals -5. Here are 3 problems for you to try. Pause the video and work them out. When you're done, start the video again to check your answers. On the first one, we get m equals 6 and m equals a -6. On this one, when you subtract 15 from both sides, you get a negative, so this one is no solution, no real solution. And on this one, when you subtract 16 from both sides, you get 0. You divide 0 by 4, it's still 0. You take the square root, it's still 0, so the solution for this one is d equals 0.